Hello and welcome to another Guardians of Wiltshire video. I'm your host Dowie, and this week on 7th War Legions, it's the Defenders of Helm's Deep. The assault upon the Westfold has forced the people of Rohan to flee the sanctuary of Helm's Deep, the attack on their lands having highlighted their need for a greater protection and taller walls. Having journeyed across Rohan and survived the ambush of the Wolves of Isengard, the Rohirrim have reached Helm's Deep and began to prepare for the inevitable battle against the armies of the White Wizard. Yet, whilst Theoden readies his people for the battle that approaches, the sound of horns signals the arrival of Haldir and an army of elves from Lothlorien. Theoden and Aragorn welcome the elves into the fortress, and with their arrival, hope is rekindled. Perhaps the combined might of men and elves can triumph once more. As the legions of Saruman's fighting Uruk-hai come into view, the heavens open and begin a downpour upon the fortress of Helm's Deep. Theoden stands atop the Hornburg with his trusted guard, ready to command his forces in the coming battle. Upon the deeping wall, ranks of men and elves stand side by side with one another, honouring the allegiance that once stood between Elendil and Gil-galad, over 3,000 years ago. Those that defend Helm's Deep are some of the greatest warriors of the Third Age. Aragorn, Legolas and Gimli stand upon the deeping wall, and along with Haldir, lead those atop the walls against the Uruk-hai below. It will take every ounce of skill and martial prowess for them to overcome the seemingly impossible odds that now face them. So I'll move straight into the army composition. So you have Theoden, King of Rohan, with heavy armour, and you have the option to give him a shield. You have Gamling, Captain of Rohan, with the Royal Standard of Rohan, if you want. You have Aldor, Rohan Archer. You have Haleth, son of Hammer. You can take a King's Huntsman. You can take a Captain of Rohan. He can take a bow, heavy armour, shield, or throwing spears. You have Aragorn Strider with armour. Legolas Greenleaf, he can take armour or an elven cloak. Gimli, son of Gloin, he can take an elven cloak. Or Haldir with heavy armour and elf bow, who can take an elven cloak. And finally a Galadrim captain, who can take an elf bow or a shield. So a good mix of heroes. Next, the warriors, you have a Warrior of Rohan, he can take a warhorn, a banner, throwing spears, bow or a shield. Rohan Royal Guard, he can take a banner or throwing spears, and Galadrim Warrior, he can take a warhorn, a banner, an elf bow, a shield or a spear. So a really big mix of stuff. Everything you see depicted in the film. Yeah, really good mix of lots of different troops and heroes. So on to the additional rules. The Defenders of Helm's Deep force must include Theoden. Theoden is always the army leader. It makes sense. He's also the only hero of legend in there. So from a actual game-wise match play point, that's exactly who it should be anyway. All models from this legendary legion must have the infantry keyword. No one has the option to take a horse, so you're gonna be sticking by that. Defenders of Helm's Deep Legendary Legion may only have a maximum of 33% of its models with the Lorien keyword. So this just is to imitate the film, that there's more Rohan than Lothlorien. But it'll still make a nice themed force. So on to the special rules. Fight in ranks. Whilst the Rohirrim commonly use their spears as throwing weapons, in the confines of Helm's Deep they are forced to use them in other ways to fend off their foes. Friendly Rohan infantry models armed with a throwing spear may use them as standard spears in addition to their normal use. However, if their model uses their spear as a throwing spear in a turn, they cannot use it as a standard spear in the same turn. Amazing. Essentially, warriors of Rohan now can support each other. Give them a volley. As the ranks of Uruk-hai race towards the battle, the men and elves unleash devastating volleys of arrows towards them. Models from this legendary legion armed with either a bow, longbow, or an elf bow may increase the range of their type of bow from 24 to 30 inches, provided they have not moved this turn. So that's awesome. So along with not getting the penalty for moving, you also get an increased range. For elves, this could be devastating. 30-inch strength 3 bows. As you'll see in the lists I've written, I try and take about a third bows because they're actually really, really useful in this force. Fall back to the keep is the next one. Even when things look dire, the commanders at Helm's Deep can inspire those around them to regroup and keep fighting. If this force is broken, then warrior models from this force add 1 to their courage value. Additionally, if this force is broken, friendly warrior models may reroll failed courage tests whilst they are within 6 inches of Theoden. So that's amazing. Any additional courage is really, really good. And especially if you're broken. And then the rerolling failed courage tests within 6 inches of Theoden is going to be really helpful for if you come up against things that are like terror causing and you're broken. You can still definitely hold your own. And if Theoden is caught in combat, then your warriors can still more than likely stay around him. So the designer's notes. The defenders of Helm's Deep Legendary Legion represents all those who fought for the defence of Helm's Deep against the forces of Isengard. It features Theoden and his Rohirrim, the 3 hunters, and Haldir with his elves. This always allows you to recreate the forces at Helm's Deep from almost any perspective, and allows you to use Aragorn, Legolas and Gimli in a Rohan force, who can also lead the warriors into battle. As this force is composed entirely of infantry models, and you are only able to field a third of your model as elves, we felt that the warriors of Rohan needed to be able to work more as a fighting force, as they are required to in the confines of Helm's Deep. Fight in the ranks rule provides the Rohirrim with some much needed spear support and allows you to give as many as your elves bows without needing to also provide spear support for the army. Yeah, so you're probably going to load out most of your elves with just bows. You're not really going to have a fighting line of them. And that means you don't have to give them spears, which is great. So we'll come back with the hierarchy of heroes. Hierarchy of heroes. We'll do the standard 450, 600 and 750 points, and we'll start with 450 just straight in. So you have to take Theoden, so you would always take him. Then I would put Gamling with his Rohan Royal Standard in there, followed by Haleth, and then Aldor. I don't think at lower points you can really afford to fit in any of the others, any of the other named heroes, and the other heroes like King's Huntsman and Captains aren't as good as Haleth and Aldor in the kind of general scheme of the army. And the fact that Haleth and Aldor can also slot into other warbands as independent heroes is definitely worthwhile. So at 600 points, Theoden, Gamling, Haleth are your 3 main stalwarts. Then I think you can have 2 routes. You can either go for Aragorn, just by himself, obviously with a warband within the list, but in the hierarchy, or you can go for Aldor and Legolas. You could, if you really wanted, try to fit Aragorn and Aldor, but I really don't think it's a viable option. It means you can either get Mighty Hero or some extra shooting capabilities. Personal preference, as always with all these videos. I'm just here to give helping hints. And then 750 points. Theoden, Gamling with a standard, Haleth, and Aldor. So you've instantly got 4 heroes to regenerate Might on. Then I think you go either Aragorn, or the other path is Legolas and Haldir. Personal preference, I've seen both used at between 700 and 800 points to great effect. So it's definitely what you feel most comfortable with. my two lists coming up, I've got one version in 600 and another version in 750. So it all comes down to what you're looking to do with the force. So we'll come in with the army lists next. Straight in with 450 points. We have Warband 1, Theoden, heavy armour and a shield. Haleth, son of Hammer, 7 warriors of Rohan with shield, 5 warriors of Rohan with shield and throwing spear, 2 Royal Guard with throwing spear. Warband 2 is Gamling with the Royal Standard of Rohan. Then you've got Aldor, then you've got 5 warriors of Rohan with bow, 3 Galatian with elf bow, 2 Royal Guard with throwing spear. So this gives you 28 models. A Rohan Royal Standard as the banner. You've got 6 bows and 3 elf bows with extra range if unmoved. You've got Aldor with his additional shooting actions, 9 extra throwing spears who can support in combat. You've got 8 might with the Rohan Royal Standard in there as well. Across 4 heroes as well to regenerate that might. You've got 1 heroic strike, 2 heroic marches, 2 heroic defences to hold up threats, 3 warriors at fight 5 with another 4 who can get to fight 5 because of Haleth with his extra fight value when he's in combat. All in all, really good. You're probably going to be outnumbering most armies at 450 points. Definitely worthwhile, and you could do a lot with it. It's kind of got that real skirmishy threat. I think that's kind of what this Legion does really well. So 600 points. You have Theoden with heavy armour and a shield. You've got Haleth, son of Hammer. You've got 4 warriors of Rohan with shield, 4 warriors of Rohan with shield and throwing spear. You've got 2 Royal Guard with throwing spear. Next you have Gamling with his Royal Standard of Rohan. You've got 4 warriors of Rohan with shield, 4 warriors of Rohan with shield and throwing spear, and 2 Royal Guard with throwing spear. Then you've got Warband 3 is Legolas with armour, Aldor, 5 warriors of Rohan with bow, and 4 Galadriel with elf bow. So this gives you 34 models. The Royal Standard of Rohan is your banner, 6 bows and 5 elf bows with the extra range if unmoved. You've got Legolas and Aldor with their additional shooting actions. You've got 12 extra throwing spears you can support in combat, 11 might with the Rohan Royal Standard regenerating might on 4 of them, 2 heroic strikes, 2 heroic marches, 2 heroic defences to hold up threats, a strong secondary hero in Legolas. You've got 4 warriors at fight 5 with another 4 who can get to fight 5 because of the extra fight value Haleth provides in combat. This is kind of my ballpark figure of models at 600 points, kind of like I've spoken about before, between kind of 30 and 38 is what I look for. I don't necessarily aim for a target, I just try and see what's viable. You've got lots of different things going on, you've got lots of skirmishing, as we said with the 450 point list. So we'll come straight into 750 points. You've got Theoden, Warband 1 is Theoden with heavy armour and shield, Haleth, son of Hammer. You've got 5 warriors of Rohan with shield, 5 warriors of Rohan with shield and throwing spear, 2 Royal Guard with throwing spear, and 2 Royal Guard. You've got Aragorn in Warband 2, Strider with armour. You've got 7 warriors of Rohan with shield, 7 warriors of Rohan with shield and throwing spear. And then Warband 3 is Gamling with the Royal Standard of Rohan, Aldor, 5 warriors of Rohan with bow, 3 Galadriel with elf bow, 3 Galadriel with elf bow and spear. So this gives you 45 models at 750 points, which is really good. The Rohan Royal Standard as a banner. You've got 6 bows and 6 elf bows with extra range if unmoved. Aldor with his additional shooting actions. You've got 14 extra throwing spears you can support in combat. You've got 11 might with the Rohan Royal Standard regenerating might on 4 heroes, and you've got Mighty Hero. You've got 2 heroic strikes, 3 heroic marches, 3 heroic defences to hold up threats. Strong secondary hero in Aragorn. 6 warriors at fight 5 with another 4 who can get to fight 5 as well, with the extra fight value from Haleth. It is also worth noting, in all of these lists you've got 5 models with bodyguard. Really, really useful. Obviously you've got your 4 royal guard in each list, and you've got gambling as well. So this is amazing. I think it is proved to be a good army for tournament play. It's a very, very themed legendary legion. So if you've got any comments, please drop them below. Please like and subscribe to. Share this video where you need, or where you would like to, and we'll see you soon.